That's right, Simon. I'm right. All right, next week you have Jonathan Hearn hosting. He actually stopped by earlier this week. At first I wasn't sure if it was really him because I was sniffing a lot of glue that day. But it was him. And he told me all about his plans for his upcoming episode. Apparently he's hosting it the whole time in full character as Commander Riker from Star Trek.
Maybe I'm just not right for this part. Most humanoids have the potential to be irrational. Perhaps you should attempt to access that part of your psyche.
Thank you, David.
Captain's log, stardate 46778.1. We've lost Mr. Riker. We believe he may have traveled through time as well as space by means of a narrativian loose end. Whether it will be tied up in some future episode, I cannot say. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten how you got there? Welcome to Jester Jesters Goes Viral. I'm Commander Will Riker of the USS Enterprise. I found myself in the Terran system, specifically planet Earth. The planet of my birth, but well before my time, 2021. I don't remember how I got here. All I do know is that I'm without my Just for Men, and I seem to have undergone some extreme follicle growth. Perhaps this was the predominant style of the time. I like it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Riker to Enterprise. Come in. I've been trying to contact Starfleet. I found something called Space Force, but I don't remember hearing any mention of Space Force in history class at the Academy. I seem to have landed on a part of Earth called United Kingdom. The only information I've gathered about that is mostly harmless. I've had a quick scan of the primitive social media of this time, and it seems the only important world event at the moment is a court case between two supermarket chains over caterpillars with identical faces. I guess they're trying to determine which one is sentient. Well, I say both. Can you hear me, Judge? If I'm getting my dates right, then this time is some decades before first contact, which means the people of this world are yet to meet the plethora of exotic beings all across the galaxy. Compatible with the human species in every way, except eyebrows. Will there ever be peace? Talking of beings, let's watch this week's acts. Number 1.
But no, I went to this party and I got chatting to this girl, and let's just call her Kate, because that was her name. And Kate, she was how can I describe Kate? Kate was a little bit of, she was a cunt. And,
Number 2.
We need content, so who are we going to get? Who's going to do the content for us? Because we're not the guys who do the content. We're the people who get the people to do the content for people, but it comes through our platform, so we're the content providers. Who are we looking for? What are we going to get? Fresh voices? This guy, fresh! Did I just hear somebody say a fresh new voice? Okay, put that down. Who? What kind of a voice? Wide range or a specific? A wide specific. A specific wide range. A wide specific range. A specific but wide, widely specific. That's why you're over there and you're over there, because you're talking about fresh voices, but you're talking about widely specific. Specifically wide, was it? What kind of a background? A specific background. How about a wide variety of different specific backgrounds with specifically direct and specifically wide voices? These guys, we are onto something here. Okay, what kind of generational, what are we talking about here? Gen Z, Gen Y, millennial, yesterday, tomorrow, anybody? Okay, a Gen Z with a Y attitude from a millennial background with modern kind of ideas to push us forwards and draw people to the site. Okay. But let's hear from someone who's not even human. We want to hear from animals. Let's hear... Okay, no. A man? A woman or a man? Anyone. Or what if it's... Now we're cooking! Now we're cooking! And we want people to be hitting that share button. Something that induces the audience into needing, into wanting to spread, to draw them in. Young. They've got to be young, obviously. Like a little baby. I want a little baby to go viral and draw people in. A little specific Gen X millennial baby that doesn't have a gender, that it doesn't have a race or a creed, but is kind of a mass appeal for everyone and draws people in and makes them want to share. Put that in the brief.
Number 3.
Walking is boring. I hate it. Think of all the other things that have changed in the world. Walking hasn't changed in 50,000 years. I think we've all had that feeling. I'm Jethro Bradley, and I'd like to show you a few fresh, new, stylish ways to move around which don't involve walking at all. Let's start with a little move I'm calling the hip thrust, and it is all about the hips. Okay, so that was the hip thrust, and it was all about the hips. Let's try something else now. Let's have a go at the scoot. And to end, I'd like to show you a move which I don't really have a name for. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Let's call it the all sorts. So there we have it. Something for everyone. Give them a go.
Number 4.
I gave blood recently. I know, I'm a hero. It's not the first time I've done it, but it's the first time in probably about 10 or 15 years. So it was, I was sort of not completely nervous, but slightly anxious. So I don't really generally like having needles stuck in me. When I arrived, I was taken into a little room, little cornered off area, and there were 2 people in there, and one of them was asking me questions, and it became clear quite quickly that the one asking me questions was quite a young guy, and he was being trained, and that the other guy who looked about my age, and he was obviously, seemed like he was he looked like a doctor. He had a doctory look about him. So yeah, the guy was being trained, and I thought, this is fine. He's just asking me some questions, but kind of hope he's not the one who's going to stick the needle in. But we get through a bit. At one point, he does actually do one of those little prick tests on the finger and draw some blood. He doesn't tell me he's going to do that. He just does it. So I'd give him a C, but it felt like it was his first day. There's room for improvement. Fortunately, when I went to the chair to actually do the procedure, there was an older man there. Looked to be in his sort of mid-40s. I thought, okay, cool. This guy's a doctor. Sat down, and he started setting me up and got the chair all ready and started setting up his kit and said, so just to let you know, this is my first day. So are you okay for me to do the procedure? I was like, okay, yeah, I want to be accommodating. So yeah, fine, you can, I don't mind, yeah. And he goes, don't worry, you're not my first. I've done 10. That's not very reassuring. 10 doesn't seem like a very big number for this kind of thing. I don't want to be in the double digits of the times he's done it. I want to be well into the hundreds. But it's fine. I'm accommodating. So he starts setting up, and then the guy who I assume is the actual doctor comes over and starts helping him out and showing him the ropes, and then explaining to him that he should have this here before that, and then put that on top of that, and then make sure you wipe with the alcohol, and then this is where you want to insert, and you want to go in at this angle. I'm thinking, he's explaining the entire procedure to him. I feel like at this point, me and the guy who's sticking it into my arm are on an even level of how much we know about what this procedure is. So I don't know, it's a little bit disconcerting. And then he kept saying to me, "Are you sure it's okay for me to be the one who sticks the needle in your arm?" And I said, yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine. And then he sort of got himself set up and then wiped it and then got the needle and he was like, are you sure it's okay for me? I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's okay. I'm not sure you're sure that you're okay to stick a needle in my arm, but go for it. So I look away. I can't look when they're doing that. So I look away and, you know, it's fine. It's just like slight pain and then it's fine. It's just then look round and there's a tube with just blood rushing out. And they both look at the bag and they go, "Oh, that's filling up quick." And I felt proud. I felt very proud that they were impressed at how quick my blood was choosing to leave my body. I don't know if that's something I should be proud of, that I bleed quickly. But yeah, so I sat there and he went away and I put on the podcast. I was like, I'll listen to a podcast while I'm doing this. And then about 5 minutes later he comes back and he says, "Oh wow, you're all done. You're done, look at you. You're very good. You've done very quickly." And I felt really good about myself. I was like, well done, Blood. Blood, you've done a good job at this. I'm impressed. So I went and sat down and I got a Kit Kat and a little glass of juice and drinking my juice and eating my Kit Kat, and you know, I've got to sit there and I have to be there for like 10 minutes afterwards so they check I don't pass out or anything. So I've got to sit there and eat my Kit Kat and drink my juice, and it really is one of the very few times when you're above about 7 years old where your job is to just sit there and finish a Kit Kat and some juice. Oh, it's bliss. Because it's such an achievable goal, you know? I achieved it. I did it. I ate my Kit Kat, drank my juice, threw it away, said, "Guys, I'll be back. You know, you don't want to miss out on this blood." It's so quick. In and out, no fuss. They looked at me a bit strangely. But yeah, I left, went home. I sort of roll on my sleeve so everyone could see the plaster and the little bit of cotton that was on where they'd had it, so everyone would know I'd given blood, or was a very well-supplied heroin addict. But yeah, I mean, after that it was fine. Like, I did for a few days afterwards. I had this kind of feeling, it's kind of hard to describe. It's like a feeling of not having quite enough blood. I think that's sort of the best way to describe it. It's just sort of a feeling of just a bit drained, really. It's just a bit drained. Yeah, so but that was fine. That lasted for a couple of days and then it was all good. I kind of stopped thinking about it, but then I got something through the post and it was interesting because it kind of vindicated what I'd been thinking. So they had to seem impressed. They seemed impressed with, you know, how quickly the blood came out, and like, I'm not sure if they were looking at the colour and just like thinking, you know, it was a good shade. I'm not sure what else they were looking at. But then I got this through the post and it does say I got an A-, which is really good. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that, you know. It's not perfect, but I was never like an A student. So like an A-, that is, you know, I couldn't ask for better than that.
Number 5.
Hi, Sean.
Catherine, hello, and hiya! Not you, them.
Sorry.
Welcome to 2 Minutes of Pat and Math. Catherine, what would you like to know?
So, speaking, you know, as a man, I would like to ask you, what is the way to a man's heart?
You're speaking as a man, or
You are.
Yes. Ooh. I think gentle caresses.
Okay.
Just maybe like.
Immediately, or do you have to talk to him first?
Ideally at the same time. So,
Okay.
Hello, my name is Sean. I am a funny man. And then start the, you know, but if that's what Jesus wants, it will happen. What's your view?
Well, traditionally, I've always just gone with a handsaw and some plastic sheeting.
Yeah.
But it's been a bit of a turn off for people.
Yeah.
I keep turning up to the dates, being like, "Do you want to come to my murder room? I mean, house."
Yeah. And they do pick up on words like murder.
They do, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, I just feel like it's really, hindering my chances of finding the one.
Yeah, you deserve love.
I do. And if I can't get at it with a handsaw, how can I?
Number 6.
She just got a promotion but feels nothing. Apathy. She answered the door with her kimono open but feels no shame. Apathy. With hints of wildflower and non-specific trauma. Apathy. I'm pretty sure there's an electrical fire in my basement right now, but putting it out just seems like a hassle. Apathy. Apathy. It's time to smell like you couldn't give a
Number 7.
Welcome to this collection that I like to call the Twitter patter of tiny feats. Don't you hate it when you've given up drink for 3 weeks and at the end of the 3rd week you are visited by the ghost of Pope John Paul, who sits at the end of your bed and says, "Freestyle from the top of my dome," as I rock the microphone before vanishing into thin air screaming. You can really tell when you've given up drink for a little while because you can almost smell colours. Almost. Like teal. Teal smells a lot like being kicked in the head. In fact, all the colours smell like being kicked in the head. Maybe I had a headache. You really start to notice that you and your daughter are getting older when you pick up your child and say, "Come on, baby girl," but you massively strain yourself so much that you sound exactly like the Jamaican rapper and MC Shaggy. If I caught someone kicking my child's snowman, I'd break their hands. I used to really cringe at that moment in the Zach Braff film Garden State, where they all hold hands and scream into an abyss. I would give anything to do that now. If you are going to scream into the abyss today, please wear a mask. Sorry, but the unending void is filled to the brim with screams today. Please come back tomorrow. If I caught someone kicking my child's snowman, I would break their ankles with a sledgehammer and make them write a book. Maybe it's time I finally shared my thought on LinkedIn. Hey, are you visibly aroused or just happy to see me? What kind of upbringing do you think I've had where I would equate arousal with being happy to see you? What kind of life is that? What kind of childhood is that? If I caught someone kicking my child's snowman, I would run after them while they were in their car like the T-1000 from Terminator 2 and kill them. I had a nightmare once where I didn't sleep through the Super Bowl. I can't believe it's October already. Or January, or July, whatever month it is. Get Corona done. Every day is like Schmen's Day. Ask not how we can let our children starve, but how we... If I caught someone kicking my child's snowman, I would come out of retirement one last time and then hunt them down with my particular set of skills. Me and a friend have this idea for our concept for a restaurant called Mussels and Steins, and the idea is that you can have bottomless mussels and bottomless steins of beer, like 2-pint steins of beer, as much as you want. Everything's laminated. You go in and they say, "Hi, welcome to Mussels and Steins. There's the toilets. How many steins would you like to start off with?" Like I say, everything's covered in sheet plastic, and then you leave with, instead of after dinner mints, you get 2 sachets of Doralite and a bottle of water and some plastic bags for your feet. I don't know what thing I ate last night, but it's weird and pissed off. You get smart everything now, don't you? You get these smart phones, smart watches, smart fridge. I have one of those smart beds. It texted me the other day saying, "Mattress memory nearly full." What the hell does that mean? If I caught someone kicking my child's snowman, I would immediately fall to the ground on my knees and begin pounding the earth, screaming, "You finally did it, you maniacs, you blew it up." I was in a park once and I coughed, but instead of a cough it came out as a shrill whistle. And I did it again afterwards, it was just a normal cough, so I don't know if it happened or not. The only proof I have is that a dog showed up. I remember quite vividly the time where a ladybird just died in my arms tonight. Every once in a while, I like to order myself a bucket of KFC. I use an app, and from the point I've made the order to the point it arrives, I listen to the entirety of Phil Collins' in the air tonight while I stare at the window. Some days in life you just don't have enough fists to punch all the dicks away from your mouth. Some days you just lose. If I caught someone kicking my child's snowman, I would lock them up in a hotel room for 20 years, drive them mad, and then let them out, and then let them follow a convoluted series of plots where they fall in love with a snowman that turns out to be their daughter, and then they cut out their own tongue and convince themselves that it's not their daughter, but they want to be in love. I love the fact that Thomas Wayne's idea of cheering up his son after he fell into a well and got attacked by bats was taking him to see a show about bats and then getting murdered in front of him. My lips are kiss from a rose sealed. If I had to say what my favourite pizza was, I'd probably have to go with the Classico. Post a picture of yourself without posting a picture of yourself. I'll go first. Gin and slimline tonic is a lot like having one foot in the spirit world and the other foot in hell. The thing I probably miss about drinking in town, out and about in central London, is probably the constant panic and fear from wondering where my work bag that I definitely didn't bring out with me is at any given time. If someone kicked my daughter's snowman, I would initially thank them. I get all the neighbours to say thank you for clearing the path, but then the very last minute we'd burn them inside a giant wicker snowman and sing carols, swaying and holding hands. I recently worked out the best heckle that you could shout at a comedian and it could stop them in their tracks. Basically, when they're on stage and they're in the middle of a bit, all you have to do is shout out, "What's to be gained from this?" And there's no coming back from that. There's nothing you can say that will allow you to carry on and be humorous. If you rub Sudocrem into raisins, they turn back into grapes. I don't know how this keeps happening, but I bought salmon 2 days ago, and now it's 3 weeks out of date. What they don't tell you is that when you turn 35, elves replace your ankle cartilage with kindling and matchsticks. I now have ankles that can wake up a child at night by just gently walking from one side of a room to the other. If someone kicked my child's snowman, I would invite them to a festival and then make them fight a snowman that turned out to be their wife with their... I'm not gonna do kill list. That's too far. Time flies when you're having fun, but real flies if you don't clean up afterwards. Take me down to Paradise City, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty, where I first laid my eyes on Miss Molly Malone. If music be the food of love, eat less saturated fats. I was thinking about getting some professional comedy headshots done, and the pose that I think I was going to go for was to rip my head open like a peach by way of having two hands in my mouth as I rip my head open. I'm thinking about rebelling against the system for about 15 minutes today. And by that I mean listen to Rage Against the Machine for about 15 minutes today. I had this terrifying dream the other night where me and a group of people were all running away from something called Rapenstein. It was awful, but I did have the lucidity of mind to ask, but is it Dr. Rapenstein or is it Rapenstein's monster? How many people did the census pest? I've been juggling a lot recently. Not literally, I've got too much on. Here's a top tip. Take all your favourite top tips, your life hacks, write them down onto various bits of post-it note paper, put them into a shoebox, and there you have it, you've got an instant tip bank. Has anyone done a skit yet where there's a person listening to early production 60s music like Bowie or the Beatles with Bluetooth earphones, and they can't tell if it's just, dodgy production channel errors or the fact that one of the batteries in one of the earphones has died? I'd be really interested to see that. There's been a lot of talk about people gaining weight over lockdown. I've been quite lucky. I've managed to lose a stone in dead skin. The lotion company Olay, or Ulay as I remember them, had a slogan at one point that said, "Love the skin you're in." Have they seen Silence of the Lambs? Are they aware that that's a thing? It's one of the creepiest slogans I've ever heard. Love the skin you're in? Who plays the nameless dread that claws endlessly at your mind in your biopic? Mother, am I still a boy? Here's my impression of the manager from the 90s girl group All Saints. All Saints, please! Don't you hear it when you buy ceremonial robes online and then you're suddenly met with a targeted ad a couple of days later showing exactly the same ceremonial robes you've just bought? Does anyone have any tips on how to get black sick out of ceremonial robes? I think they should release the 4-hour cut of the Very Hungry Caterpillar. There's too many questions that have remained unanswered. How does the caterpillar move from a very healthy diet of fruit and veg to suddenly eating cake and sausages? I think it's something we'd all need to see. Release the cut. There's been a lot of talk about caterpillar cakes recently. I've jokingly said that I'd like to host a caterpillar cake tasting. You know, each cake paired with wine. People have actually done it. People have actually literally done that. They're all made in the same fucking place. What I want to know about the caterpillar cakes is which one's best to make love to. Speaking of caterpillars, I am devastated when a butterfly flaps its wings and fuck all happens. A butterfly flaps its wings and fuck all happens. It's like an analogy for a comedy venture that yields a very disappointing response or something. It's impossible to be funny at the moment, unless you're a naturally funny person or have had any experience writing jokes or performing comedy on stage. Wishing you all a very happy St. Flying Ants Day this 2021. All Saints, please!
Number 8. Fire!
At midday, batteries started firing 41 rounds at 1-minute intervals in London, Cardiff, Edinburgh, Belfast and other cities, as well as from warships at sea.
The defence chiefs who've all come out and talked about his character, his leadership, his inspiration.
8 days of mourning. Oh, how will I cope? He was the people's grandfather. Not biologically, as that would be a superhuman feat, although that would genuinely make the Queen an actual queen like the Queen of a Hive, which I suppose means that the Royal Grenadier Guards hatched from her eggs. Oh, I'm getting sidetracked here, it's the grief. Loss is unbearable. He did so much for this country. I remember when we went to Pall Mall, myself, Helen and the kids. He waved at us. That single wave sustained us through September the 11th, July the 7th, the 2008 crash, several recessions, and Jimmy Savile. Who will do the waving now? How many people in this separate aisle will suddenly find themselves unable to cope, especially now we're all bearing the mental scars of a pandemic? How many people unwaved at will collapse into a blubbering heap wailing, if only someone I don't know who randomly had great wealth and influence conferred on them for no reason at all had waved at me, then I might have been able to deal with the life-threatening virus. Like Thursday night claps and rainbow badges, these things are the backbone of the English stiff upper lip. Lips can have backbones, because they temper our solid stoic character, even though they appear to be utterly meaningless hollow gestures. Day 2. I wonder if there's a way we can assemble a team of lookalikes. It wouldn't be the same, of course, but if they could be dispatched to the provinces to meet and greet people, that would surely make a difference. Of course, they would be no real substitute, but from a distance they may pass muster, or perhaps we could make people wear gigantic bifocal lenses to blur them a little so they could really believe it's him. Day 3. None of us can stop wailing and shaking our grief. We've decided to adopt a rota system. I wail and shake in the mornings after the school run, and Helen perches herself in the afternoon. Day 4. I can't believe people are complaining about the media coverage. I personally didn't think there was enough and recorded it all so that we might all listen to it in our sleep. Helen didn't seem to mind, but Michael tried to blow his own ears off with a spud gun. I placed him in the naughty pod. Day 5. Wound all the buses wearing black armbands. Why is there no veil on the shard? Day 6. I just don't understand why he was so young. Day 7. The mourning may be almost over, but our grief goes on. I personally shall not rest until there is a special commemorative fountain in the middle of my forehead. Day 8! I tried to drill the fountain today, but it mashed my head and now I don't know what the sun is. Okay, bye! Oh dear.
Thank you for watching. Please tune in next week, which will be our anti-penultimate episode, hosted by Jethro Bradley, who I understand will be telling us about some local history. Please send your video to info@jesterjesters.com to be part of the episode. This would have been Jonathan Hearn's last turn hosting an episode, but instead you got Jonathan Frakes. But I don't know who that is. I'm Commander Will Riker of the USS Enterprise. The holodeck? I actually am Will Riker? And what's this? A loose end.
Number 1.
Patrick?